Um, the application is to remove existing screens on upper stained glass dormer windows. Is there anyone here representing Pequot Library?
Yes, I am Cocan Wilcox, representing the Board of Trustees for the record.
Thank you. Are you able to present your application?
Sure, certainly. Pequot Library is proposing an addition to the restoration, which involves not adding back the screens, the metal screens, to the stained glass windows in the dormers, because they were put in the 1950s and are not authentic. And it will enhance the building's beauty if we do not add them. Danielle Davis from our architects, Prairie Associates in New Haven, is here to detail the concept and to respond to any questions that y'all might have. Danielle?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me? My name is Danielle Davis. I'm an architect with Prairie Associates out of New Haven, and we've been helping the library with the restoration of the exterior, which I'm sure all of you have seen if you've been by the library anytime recently. So today we are asking to leave off metal screens that we have established were installed in the 1950s. I understand that several photographs were submitted with the application. I have them available to share on the screen if that is necessary, but if you all have it in front of you, just let me know either way.
Yes, will you please present the application by sharing your screen?
Sure.
Thanks.
Can you see my screen all right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the cover page of the application. The second page is a photograph of one of the windows up close. So you can see around the edge, the perimeter, you can see why we were taking the windows down to restore the wood surrounds of the windows, and just barely through the metal screen you can see the outline of the stained glass that they conceal. So in the process of the restoration in kind, we are having the stained glass windows restored, as well as the wooden frames and sashes. I'm going to zoom in on the photograph, and you will see this thin strip of wood here, which has several nails through it. That was applied to the surface of the historic windows to hold this aluminum screen in place. What you'll see in one of the following photographs a little more clearly is that those are affixed directly at the edge of the stained glass, and our stained glass restorers have some concern that to reinstall them the way that they are could potentially jeopardize the stained glass, and we have reason to believe that the nails and the way they were attached have actually increased the degradation of the original, have opened the window sashes that are historic to accelerated deterioration. So this is a photograph of the windows at the ground level. These we are not doing anything to at the moment. The photograph is just to indicate what the upper windows will look like if we are allowed to not install the old mid-century screens. This is a photograph of the work in progress.
Okay, Rob, I have
These
to
are
and change. Could you do me a favor and bring me
Alyssa, you are on speaker. I'm not sure if you mean to be.
Thank you.
So the photograph on the screen here are those aluminum screens at the restorers and the shop. You can see at the edges they were, you know, it's a very thin screen, very delicate. In fact, the texture, I would liken it to, you know, on AC window units, those sort of radiator grills. Once you touch it, it's permanently kind of dinged. So we are concerned about reinstalling those. Here's another photo of what those screens look like in situ, and a close-up of one of the worst case conditions where you can see the wood holding that screen in place is practically gone, and the caulking and other temporary measures that were done that we are removing and restoring the wood beyond. But in terms of the location, this was the site plan, and I'll just zoom in. So Pequot Avenue is here, Westway Road is here. The three dormer expressions are: one faces Pequot Ave, one faces Westway Road, and one faces north away from the public view. Are there any questions that I can answer?
Sure. Jim, do you have any questions?
So you're going to replace the aluminum screens with what now?
The proposal is to simply collect and store those aluminum screens into and keep them in the archives. The stained glass does not need protection, you know, as can be seen elsewhere on the building and on many buildings all around. There is no need for additional screen protection on the exterior.
Okay. The original
More questions,
purpose of
Jim?
those screens, the original purpose of those screens was what now?
So what we were able to find, we found some manufacturer advertisements from the 1950s. They were for sunshades. Essentially, it was an exterior sunshade. It was most commonly used on RVs, in fact, but they found a unique use for it here, pre-air conditioning. But as we're all aware, the library is fully conditioned now,
Right.
so that isn't a concern.
Okay, thank you. Just curious, would you know who made those back in the 50s?
It was, I believe, a manufacturer called Kaiser with a K.
Thank you very much. No other questions.
Melissa? And Alyssa Stack has joined the meeting. And
Yep. No questions for me, thanks.
thank you. Chris? Chris Shea? Chris, you're muted if you can't hear. Okay, we'll move on. Darren?
No questions for me.
Thank you. Rosina?
No questions?
Okay. Chris, one last chance. Okay, no response from Chris. I don't believe I have any questions. I do wonder what the purpose of the screens were. You seem to think they were for screening the sun, but I mean, I was thinking they might be to protect the window from the exterior, but I don't know.
So we're happy to submit manufacturer publications from the 50s if that's desired by the board. We are pretty confident. There's actually some extremely limited stock on the market for, you know, in vintage sales for RV restorations. The kind of, unique niche market out there right now. It's not in fabrication anymore. They do not make this product anymore, so replacing it would be difficult, and that's why we are proposing to kind of keep them, you know, in an archive in case at any time it was desired to put them back. But they are very fragile, and best preserved as an artifact, we feel. If sunscreening is necessary, it can be accomplished in a different way. That doesn't impede the exterior performance or aesthetic. In terms of one other note, in terms of protection, for the most part, stained glass is recommended to be protected at grade from vandalism. It's not really needed up high.
Okay. So from the weather, from the elements, it doesn't need any protection?
Correct.
Not that this would probably offer any protection from the rain and snow, but.
Correct.
Well, it would be great if you could submit that information you were talking about.
Sure.
Just for our records. Other than that, I don't have any other questions.
I just had a reference to Kaiser aluminum plate.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
I couldn't quite hear the question.
Okay, Jim, we're going to move on if you don't have any other questions. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing this application, so the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Cadis Main Trust, 996 Old Post Road in Fairfield, for property located at 996 Old Post Road in Fairfield, and the application is to A, replace existing damaged garage with new garage. Is there someone here to represent Cadis Trust, Main Trust? I see Ann Cadis here.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes.
Hello? Hi. Am I on?
Hi. Yes.
Hi. Is it possible
Please
for you to
identify
put...
yourself.
Oh, my name is Ann Cadis, 996 Old Post Road. Is it possible for you to put the application on the screen?
Sure.
All right.
Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hi. Like I said, my name is Ann Cadis, and our garage was crushed by a tree last August in, I believe the storm's name is Isaiah. And so we need to build a new garage. So that's what this application is for. Right now you can see the survey of our property. I believe this is the stamped survey that has the zoning variance on it from the zoning department. Yeah, I see the stamp there. So we're going to, the plan is to build the garage in the exact footprint where it existed prior. I have, okay, so these are our new drawings from our new architect. I believe they're more comprehensive than you saw before, and I'm hoping that they answered any issues that you had from the last meeting, so I don't have to bother you good people anymore. This is going to be a wooden garage with wooden garage doors. Like I said, built in the same exact footprint. There's no expanding it or anything. we do need 9-foot garage doors because we were told that we probably wouldn't be able to get our cars into the 8-foot garage doors. And this is a drawing from the garage door company that they gave us. There also is a photo, I believe, on, yeah, a teeny tiny photo there. And a description of what the door would be. And I believe this is when he quoted us for the 8-foot garage doors, but I have an email in there too that says that he can do the same exact thing at a 9-foot garage door. And then the architect gave us also, yeah, there you go. That's the email saying it would be the same exact thing, just 9-foot, a little extra cost. And then next you have this, the architect gave us this tear sheet of a lamp. Prior to this, in the old garage, so this is suggested for the side door here. Yes, thank you. And the old garage had no light there. The other lighting would be recessed lightings in the soffits and above the garage, the car garage doors. If this type of lighting fixture isn't appropriate, I'm certainly not married to it. Like I said before, there wasn't even a light there before, so I'm used to there being no light there. And finally, I think I included a photo of the side door, which was the one thing we were able to salvage from the garage once the tree hit it. And this was did I include it in there? Maybe not. Okay, I apologize.
No, I have seen it though,
okay.
so it might be in the hard copies you sent.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, it's a wooden door with it looks just like the drawing here with the glass panels there. And I apologize, I don't remember what exact type of wood it is, but I know I paid over $1,000 to have it custom made for that space. So that's sitting in my basement right now, waiting for a new garage to be built so that we can install that. And I don't know if there are any questions, but I'm happy to answer anything if I can.
Okay, thank you. Chris?
I have no questions. Good job with your application. It was very thorough. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Darren?
No questions from me.
Thank you. Rosina?
No questions.
Thank you. Melissa?
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. And Jim? Jim, do you have any questions?
No questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I do not have any questions either, and I think you addressed all the issues we had the last time you came in, so thank you. I did not receive any letters. I did not receive any letters in favor of the application, and I did not receive any letters opposing the application. So the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks. Next item on the agenda is Lisa Beth Zelson, 297 Harbor Road in Southport, for property located at 297 Harbor Road in Southport. And the application is to A, replace French doors with new folding doors, and B, new retractable shade awnings.
Good afternoon, Adam. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Jack.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Jack Franson. I'm representing the Zelsons for this project. The property at 297 Harbor Road was constructed around 2002, and it was briefly occupied by the original owner but for the last 14 years, it's been the home of Dan and Lisa Zelson and their 3 kids. The Colonial Revival house, it sits on Harbor Road, but pretty close to the water, is characterized by, among other things, a lot of large double hung windows with divided lights and sets of divided light French doors. And what we're requesting to do is to replace and change the 3 sets of French doors and side lights on the main salon level of the Southport Harbor side of the house. So if you look at the elevation, if you can see my cursor, this is the existing condition here. There's 3 sets of doors.
I don't think you're sharing.
Oh, let me.
John, you're not sharing your screen.
Yeah, let me go and do that. Hang on one sec. It should be working. Can you see it now? Can you see
Yep.
my screen, Adam?
Yes. Yep.
Great.
Good.
Thanks. So here's the house. The context at the top is Harbor Road, and at the bottom is Southport Harbor. There's a dock and a seawall. And the house currently, as it appears from that side, has these 3 sets of French doors and side lights. The side lights have transoms, 3 lights wide. The doors themselves and the side lights are 15 light doors and side lights. And the transoms over the doors have 5 lights, which sort of actually works better than you would think 6, but 5 works better due to the heavy stiles on the doors. What we're proposing to do is to replace those 3 sets with full height French doors that have bigger panes. So what's happening is we're going from, believe it or not, there's almost as many panes on these 3 sets as I am years old. It's like 71 panes of glass. And we're going to, if this gets approved, to 40 panes. The panes are bigger, but they're actually more proportioned similar to the panes in most of the double hung windows. And these are folding doors. They're Nana doors that when they open, they fold and they swing out to swing 90 degrees off the house. There are no screens planned. If there were going to be screens, they would be on the inside surface. We did a view just so you could see what's going on. We did this view. It shows you if you were standing on the deck with no railing, what it would look like. The goal is to be able to open the entire salon to the deck when weather permits. And even though I designed this house, the 15 light doors and transoms, which the original owner liked, always struck me as being exceedingly busy and not reflective of the massing or the scale of the space that you see on the inside. That room extends the whole width of the house. So I think it's actually more appropriate than what we started out with. I hope that you agree with me, because I think this is a more sophisticated arrangement of fenestration than what we did back in 2002. The new doors will be all wood with SDL construction, and the exterior trim and flashing will match the existing. We are also proposing for each of the new door sets to have a retractable awning, and that's what you see here, this narrow strip above each door. And those awnings will extend out at a shallow angle when they're activated by a switch, or I suppose you can do it with your cell phone. You can see the mechanism is protected by this aluminum shroud that will be painted as close a color to the house trim as possible. And here's a picture of the, I think this is from the company literature that actually shows you what the awning looks like with the awning extended. The company is called Karate USA. I've used them before, and they are by far the most elegant and simplest and cleanest lines of any of the awnings that I've seen. And I think that they'll sort of disappear under the overhang as much as possible. And I am now available to answer any questions that you might have. Any questions?
Sorry, I was muted. Rosina?
I think I saw in the drawings, but the nano doors, those are wood, correct?
That's correct. They're all wood, and they're simulated divided light with wood muttons.
Okay.
Any other questions? No, there's not. Darren?
No questions from me.
Thank you. Chris?
Hi, thanks for your presentation, Jack. So there was just the picture of the awning. There wasn't any manufacturer's product data or specs that I saw in the application. So when those are opened, they're going to project, 10 feet or so, I guess, all the way to maybe the edge of the balcony.
Yeah, if you look at the section drawing, you can see the cross section.
Yeah.
This is actually right from the catalog. It shows how it works. And there's like an extrusion that bolts into the house. And the roller is contained in this mechanism. And then there's this shroud that sticks out. And I think they have different versions of this, but this is the one that's like the simplest and cleanest looking. And this one is, I think they make them where they'll actually go out as much as 16 feet. But the problem you sometimes have is if you get we can't do that here. The deck isn't big enough, but sometimes they come out so far you can't walk under them. But this one is, I think, designed so that even when it's extended, you'll still see the top of the glass will be visible and you'll be able to see outside, from inside. The other small advantage here is one of the reasons we're doing this is the doors that we used back in 2002. They were all wood, they were mahogany, but they rotted out because this gets so much weather. And I think that this, in addition to the gutter that we have that was always there, the shroud of the awnings will probably do a better job of protecting these doors, and hopefully they'll last longer than the ones we had.
Okay, and the aluminum, you said is going to just be painted a color like to match the trim?
Correct. I think the trim is like, if I'm not mistaken, it's white dove, but whatever the closest color match is, that's what it'll be.
And I guess the awnings are the fabric of the awnings is like a canvas or?
Yeah, it's probably a synthetic type of canvas that it will be a light color because I warned the Zelsons, I think they always had intended a light color, but if you use a dark color with the pollen that we get, it'll just, look awful.
Yeah. Okay. And then my last question, Jack, is, I see that you're replacing all the doors, and I didn't notice in the elevation that there were any existing light fixtures. And perhaps there are, and I just didn't see them. But I wondered if you had any intention of adding any lights there.
No, there are, now you're asking me a question. I don't know the answer. If there are lights there, I think they may have them, but our intention is not to change anything in terms of lighting. So if there are none, which I doubt, I seem to think there are lights there, but we're not changing anything.
Okay. Thank you. I'm all set.
Thanks.
Alyssa?
Yes, thanks. I appreciated the picture of the awning. That helped me visualize it better. I'm wondering, do you have any photographs of the doors you intend to put in, or is it just the renderings in the drawing?
Just the renderings. I mean, they'll
Okay.
look very much like the doors that are there, just the scale is different.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Jim?
No questions. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Well, Jack, I don't have any questions, but I do think, I mean, the house is like 20 years old or less, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer the what you're doing with the doors now than what you had before. I think you were right. It's probably more appropriate.
Yeah, and
And
actually,
I don't have a problem with the, go ahead.
actually, the doors on the lower level are two lights wide, you know, but it was just too much stuff, too many panes, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I like it.
And you actually get less, when you do transoms, you actually end up with less glass than if you just do taller doors because of the structure
Sure,
between the
yeah.
transom and the door.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's more glass with less divisions in it. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be nice. All right. I did not receive any letters in favor of the application, and I did not receive any letters opposing the application. So the hearing's closed. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Daniel Hughes Callahan and Lisa Winton Callahan, 290 Beach Road in Fairfield, for property located at 290 Beach Road in Fairfield. And the application is to install glass railing to existing roof deck.
Good afternoon. This is Jack Franson again. I'm representing Don and Lisa Callahan, who live at 290 Beach Road. This is an amazing house with a lot of history. The house at the site was built around 1836, and it was the site of the Bulkley Tavern. The tavern was the headquarters of General Tryon during the invasion of Fairfield, and it was controversial because I think the Mrs. Bulkley, who lived and ran the tavern, a relative of hers was the captain who led the British fleet in to invade the town. And when the British were withdrawing, the militia came and they wanted to blow Mrs. Bulkley to smithereens. And there was a lot of damage to the tavern. And a cannonball hit the chimney, and there were bullet holes everywhere. But this house was built on the site in 1836, and it's actually a brick house. Within the shingle walls is solid brick infill. The house was built by Henry Glover, and it's called Moorlands. The exterior has undergone many changes, including a Second Empire moment on the roof line. And today what we're talking about is just the kitchen wing, which is this, if you can see my screen, it's this area here that's hatched. And the kitchen wing, we were told, we expanded it a few years ago, we were told that it was designed by Cameron Clark. And I believe it was the first modern kitchen in this house because the cellar had fireplaces that were designed for cooking. And there was a dumbwaiter. And I think what happened is they probably just transitioned into cooking with appliances in that basement kitchen, and they had no air conditioning. So it made sense. And in the 1920s, Cameron Clark designed this wing, which is one story above a garage. About 20 years ago, we did this addition. We added a bay window on the front of the house. The original railing that mimicked, very similar to the Sherman Parsonage railing, was maintained and enlarged to match the size of the new kitchen wing. The railing, though, is fairly decorative, and it's only 28 inches high. And Mr. Callahan has a weather station on the corner here it occasionally needs to have access to. It's got, like a temperature gauge and a wind gauge, and there's like a wire that goes into the house. What we're requesting is to install a protective railing within the old railing. So this is really a safety request. There's access onto the roof. You can see in this elevation. The bedrooms, there's a master bedroom suite up here, and these windows, you can get out of these windows onto that deck. And they have, right now, they've got a lot of grandchildren, and they're running around. Well, during COVID, they were all living in the house, believe it or not. And they were worried about the kids sneaking out onto the roof and getting too close to the short railing. So what they would like to do is put a glass railing 36 inches high that would run inboard of the existing railing. And I think I have a bigger plan of it here. Yeah, so the railing would be inset 4 feet from the Beach Road side and 3 feet from the other two sides. The railing would be installed using a Q-rail system, which is it's a metal extrusion that gets bolted into the decking, and you won't see anything but glass, which will have some gaps in between the pieces of glass. There's no metal stud sticking up. There's no metal railing on the top. It's all self-supporting with this extrusion. So the idea is really to have it disappear as much as possible, which I guess this drawing does a pretty good job of illustrating how it would look. See if there's anything else I need to explain. I think that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Jack. Let's start with Chris.
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Chris. Alyssa?
No, I don't have any questions. Thanks.
Darren?
Hi, Jack. Just one really quick question. So you said that the glass railing that's going to be installed is 36 inches. How high is the railing that's there currently?
It's 28 inches. The posts are slightly taller, but the railing that's there is, I believe, is 28 inches.
So we're looking at a difference of 8 inches.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're really close to, if you're on the sidewalk that's one of the reasons we kept it farther back from the Beach Road side, because we thought if you were on the sidewalk or maybe even on the street, from the angle that you'd see hardly any of that glass. You can see that condition here.
Okay. That's my only question.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
No questions yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosina.
My only question was about the decision of the difference between 3 feet and 4 feet, and you just answered it. So thank you.
Thanks.
Sure, yeah. I was a little concerned about this application, but thinking about it when you're down at grade, the angle, you really, unless the further away you get, probably the more you'll see, but then it'd be harder to see it.
Right.
So I don't think I have any issues with this.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's it's not if they sell the house and the concern disappears. It's all removable with just some lag bolts. So
yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, that's it. I don't have anything else. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing this application. So the hearing's closed. Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is David J. and Elizabeth M. Ives, 411 Harbor Road in Southport for property located at 411 Harbor Road. And the application is for A, widened driveway, B, repaved driveway with asphalt, C, new stone apron at Harbor Road, D, widened sidewalk and reposition lights, and E, remove curb and at garage.
Good afternoon. This is Jack Franson again, and I'm representing David and Betsy Ives on this application. The renovation project here is virtually complete, except for some changes that we want to make to the driveway and the area around the front door. And first of all, we'd like to place a stone apron on the portion of the driveway that intersects with Harbor Road. And there's a photograph of the type of stone. It would be square cut granite, random ashlar, and the stone would be, I believe it's 9 feet from the beginning of the apron to the rear. And the town does require an 18-inch asphalt apron because of snow plows. You'll see in the historic district, there's some driveways where the bluestone goes right through the edge of the driveway, which I think looks terrific. But the town now requires that you have this 18-inch lip, and I guess it makes sense. So our granite apron will start right behind that, and it'll run about 9 feet. And the reason for that is that's the rear of the existing stone piers that are there. We're also planning to straighten the driveway out. There's an existing retaining wall here. And what we're going to do is we're going to just align it, the driveway, with the leading edge of that retaining wall and bring it over to the leading edge of the curb on the little turnaround area that we created. And in doing that, we have to take out this curb and repair it. We're going to remove the curb because the wall will now act as a curb, and just repair this little section of apron that's existing. We also plan to not repave with oil and stone, but rather with asphalt. And we like the look and that of the oil and stone, but one of the problems with this house is it's an upside down house. So you come into the house at the bedroom level of the house, and the sidewalk actually slopes towards the house. So all the pebbles just roll down. When people walk in, they roll down and they collect on the porch and they get tracked into the house. And the Ives have become fed up with that and want to just repave the driveway with asphalt. The other thing that we want to do is we're going to widen the sidewalk in the area of the front door. Right now, the narrow portion of the sidewalk goes right up to the front porch. And if two people approach the front porch, they kind of have to step aside to get into the porch. The porch isn't that big. If you grant that, there's lighting that you approved already, and actually there's existing lights there now. We'll just have to move those back, 24 inches or so to work with the new alignment of the driveway and make sense out of it. Let me just make sure I covered everything. Yep. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Jim?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa?
I don't have any questions, thanks.
Okay, Rosina?
On the area that you mentioned, the bluestone, are there
Yes.
pavers as well?
Are you talking about the sidewalk, Rosina?
Yes.
So right now there's just a narrow sidewalk that goes right up to the front door, and what we're proposing is to widen it into a square, sort of an arrival area right before you go into the porch.
Okay. No other questions. Thanks.
Aaron?
No questions for me.
And Chris?
Hi, thanks, Jack. So when you're widening the driveway, are you going to repave the entire driveway or just patch where you've widened it?
They're going to repave the whole thing.
Okay,
So
that's what I thought because
yeah.
of the existing oil and stone. So
Yeah,
they're going to
it's-
remove the oil and stone and replace it with regular black bituminous paving.
That's correct. I
And,
didn't want to go ahead, Chris.
No, and I just also for clarification, it looks like on your site plan, it looks like there's some sort of curbing in some parts of the driveway, and in other parts there's just a single line, which to me would just indicate maybe the driveway goes to lawn, or there's no metal edge or any sort of termination.
That's
between
correct.
the pavement and the lawn.
That's correct. The previous owner put in this curbing, but it does not go beyond that apron. It just stops there. There's a little piece here that we want to remove, but it's, you know, we don't want to remove it at this point. It's functional.
Okay, and then so you are going to extend that retaining wall a little bit. Did I understand that correctly?
Are you talking about this wall here?
Yes.
No, that was previously approved. That's not changing. It's just this little strip of driveway where the driveway is going to get a couple feet wider.
Okay, and so that retaining wall must go to zero there. There's no like grade drop off there.
Yeah, it's already, you can see it, it's already graded. This is all like bank run gravel in here, waiting to get paved.
Okay, and then the existing apron that you're going to slightly extend, what material is that?
That apron right now, I believe, is oil and stone. Oh, are you talking about this apron here?
Yes.
Yeah, that is cobblestone. It's like Belgian black cobblestone.
Okay, but it's not Belgian block. It's like real cobblestone.
Yeah, I think it's reclaimed. It's not the generic stuff. And you know,
okay.
you probably wouldn't have approved this if, I don't know when this happened. It was not on my watch, but this was done by the previous owner, not the Ives.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks. I don't have any questions, Jack. And I did not receive any letters in favor, and I did not receive any letters opposing this application. So hearing's closed. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Next item on the agenda is 910 Harbor Investors, LLC, 920 Harbor Road in Southport for property located at 920 Harbor Road in Southport. And the application is for a new outdoor fireplace with evergreen screening.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Bruce Eckerson, landscape architect, principal at Eckerson Design Associates in South Norwalk. How do I share my screen here? Sorry for the.
There should be a button on the bottom.
It's grayed out. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Go to meeting. Cisco meeting WebEx. Okay, did that do it? Sorry, I'm on a Mac. It doesn't seem to want to let me do it.
Would you like me to show it for you?
Sure, that'd be great.
Second. Okay.
So like I said, my name is Bruce Eckerson, landscape architect, representing Gene and Suzanne Gorab at 920 Harbor Road, Southport. The existing house, extensively landscaped, particularly between Harbor Road, the front of the house, and along the western property line there, where there's about a 25-foot, very dense arborvitae hedge. So the proposal is to build a new outdoor fireplace with wood storage at the end of the existing pergola, right in that spot, really kind of in the middle of the house, 120 feet or so away from the street. Here you can see the front elevation on the bottom left. This is what it will look like looking down the pergola. So the pergola is that arched feature there. So a central arched fireplace with wood storage underneath, and then two side areas of wood storage as well. We've got some, a keystone and some decorative stone around the fireplace, the firebox, I should say. Here's the rear view, which would be up against the arborvitae hedge. And we have a side view and a plan view as well. If you wouldn't mind going down to the photographs, Adam. See if we can spread that out. So the property, as I said, is extensively landscaped. There's a copper beech tree in the front corner there. The bottom left picture, you can see it. This photo was taken kind of late winter. So there's the beech tree, there are several holly trees, and then to the left of the holly, there's the arborvitae hedge. In the top right corner picture, you can see the arborvitae hedge going through gets through the backyard, but it's the side yard technically, the Japanese maple there. So it's really pretty far from the fireplace is really pretty far from the road. We are going to be adding one tall, about 10 to 12 foot American holly to add some additional screening to the left of you can see the white picket fence in the lower left corner, which is part of the pool enclosure. The bottom right photograph shows the existing pergola, at the end of which will be the new fireplace. So I believe that is it. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Chris?
Thanks for your presentation, Bruce. The stone that you're using for the fireplace and the wood storage areas, what is it? Is it like a field stone? It seems like it's kind of flat,
it's
rectangular, and flat.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had a picture of it on my screen that I can't share with you. Essentially, we're going to be matching the fieldstone chimneys that are on the house. So it's the Connecticut fieldstone blend. It's buffy. It's in the buff range. The hearthstones and the covers on the wood storage and the raised hearth, the mantle are all bluestone, consistent with the chimneys on the house as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't see a photograph included with the application, but that answers my question. Yeah. So thank you very much.
Sure.
Aaron?
No questions from me.
Thank you. Rosina?
No questions. Thank you.
Alyssa.
Yeah, thanks. It looks beautifully landscaped. I'm just curious, how much of the chimney will be visible from the road once you, account for all of the foliage?
I don't really think there would be much of any. If anything, it would be maybe a little bit in the wintertime. But
Okay,
you're really going to be seeing it from the side, yeah.
Alyssa? Okay, Jim?
One question, Bruce. Could you show a plan view again to show where this is on the property? Just curious.
Sure. So there it is. It's really kind of in the middle, mid-depth,
Yep.
I guess, of the property from the street.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for that. No other questions?
Bruce, I don't have any questions, Bruce. Looks good. I mean, I don't remember even being able to see that pergola back there. You know.
Yeah,
so
it's pretty.
I think it's gonna be hard to see that fireplace.
It's extensively landscaping, and we're going to add to it. So just in case. Okay, thanks. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing the application, so the hearing's closed. Thanks, Bruce. Thank you, Adam. Thanks, everybody.
And next item on the agenda is James A. Fisher and Pamela S. Biglielmo, 221 Willow Street in Southport, for property located at 221 Willow Street in Southport, and the application is for a new generator.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Jim Fisher. My wife and I, Pamela, live and own 221 Willow Street in Southport, and we'd like to install a generator, Generac generator, 10 to 24 kilowatt air-cooled generator. I don't have the ability to put up the survey that I provided, but
okay, I can do that for you.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second.
So what you'll see is that it's situated off to the side. It's the little box right where the cursor is pointing to right now. And so it actually sits behind a fence. It sits behind some landscaping. It's pretty good distance from either property line. So unless there are any questions, there's not much more I can explain about it. Generator installation.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. Jim?
No questions. Thank you.
Alyssa?
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Rosina?
No questions. My concern was if it was screened or not. So I think that's answered.
Okay.
Thank you. Darren?
No questions.
And Chris?
Yeah, just to follow up with what Rosina was saying, I didn't see in the application that it included, permanent evergreen screening. And I can't tell from the application if it would be visible from Willow Street or not. It appears as though it would be without any added screening. So that was my only question.
So we have a wall pole fence that comes right in front of it. So that's going to provide concrete. We did remove a fairly mature rhododendron, which is where it's going to go. And we have Olivers that are going to come and install other plantings in front of it. So it will not be visible from Willow Street.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions except I can just say that we probably will stipulate that evergreen plantings are maintained in perpetuity, which it sounds like you're going to do anyway. But just so you know, we will require that. Okay.
No, we're definitely.
And I did not. Okay, Terrific. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application and did not receive any letters opposing the application, so the hearing is closed. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Robert and Amelia Johnson, 187 Westway Road in Southport, for property located at 187 Westway Road in Southport, and the application is for A, replace existing synthetic roof with red cedar, and B, change previously approved fence design and add additional gate.
Yep. Hi, I'm Rob Johnson. Thank you, Adam and committee, for your time. I am representing my home at 187 Westway. Let me share my application. Is that visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we are, as Adam mentioned, we are in dire need of replacing our existing synthetic slate roof that we purchased with the house, that we have multiple leaks and issues with, which we knew when we purchased the house. We were hoping to get away with a little bit more life out of it, but that is not our circumstance. So we are actually looking to replace it with yellow Alaskan cedar is the exact what we're trying to do. Here's the image of the house from the front. This is pretty straightforward. I don't know how much I can explain about the roof being replaced, but it's something that needs to be done ASAP. So that is that. Do you want to ask questions on that, or should we move on to the next item?
No, go ahead. Present the whole application.
Okay, gotcha. The next item is we've bothered the committee now with 2 approved fences for our pool, our approved pool, and we are going to come back and ask for one more change in the picket design and one more fence, gate installation. The proposed new picket would be the one that is currently at which was the house behind us on Willow Street, which would be the old four-hand house. I'm not sure who lives there now. That's 225 Old South Road, pictured here, which I'm sure you are all familiar with. The current approved fence. I'm sorry if I already show that. This was the picket that was approved, and this is the picket that we would like to exchange it with. The caveat I would give is that this is not pool size, and we would do it per the pool code. So this is a 42-inch, and we would be putting in 48-inch along with the pool code. Further, we would like to add what our last application had was on the west side of the house. There is a sheer fence with bushes in front of it that was approved by the committee. What we would like to do is put a gate here, which would be the same gate that I just showed you. It would be a single gate, not a double gate, so it wouldn't fit lawn equipment or anything like that. It would just be a walking gate. And that is it. That's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Rob. Jim, do you have any questions?
Rob, can you show the location of the gate and the fence on this plan view?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Can you show the location of the fence and the gate on this plan view that's on the screen now?
Yeah, sure. So this was the approved fence here where I'm pointing. So again, that would be a black mesh fence with bushes in front of it right here. Maybe this will be helpful, Jim. Hold on, right here. See where the red lines are?
Yes,
That section right there, that's what was
Okay.
previously approved. And
right.
so it'll be the same, except there'll be this gate
Okay,
in the middle of that.
okay, good, good. Okay, thank you very much, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.
Alyssa?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly. In that last picture that you showed, are you replacing the entire gate, excuse me, the entire fence, or just adding a gate in the middle of it?
Just adding a gate in the middle of it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rosina?
No questions. Thank you.
Darren?
No questions.
And Chris?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Two things. The first one is your application states that you're going to be using red cedar roof shingles, and you mentioned in your presentation that you're going to be using Alaskan yellow.
That's correct.
Cedar shingles?
Yes, that's correct.
So the application is for red, but we're approved. You want us to approve Alaskan yellow.
Yes, yes, please.
Okay. Okay. And
apologies for confusion.
That's okay. My other comment is that we're just approving the appropriateness and the look of the fencing and gates, not whether or not they meet the pool codes. So that's a separate agency.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I don't have any questions or comments. I guess the only comment I have or question is the gate that you're only changing one gate. I mean, you had a gate approved, and you're putting a gate.
That's the additional gate, and then there's an existing. So
okay,
that would be
so
the additional gate, and then
changing.
Yeah. So Adam, so then down by the garage, there is a gate here. I don't know what it's not visible. It wouldn't be. I don't know how you would see it from anywhere other than if you were in my backyard. However, right here is where we have a gate, the old style that I showed, and I just wanted to. That gate will also be in keeping with the new style of picket that we are proposing. Is that clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
That's clear. Thank you. I did not receive any letters in favor of this application, and I did not receive any letters opposing the application. So the hearing is closed. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is Haley and Christopher Milligan, 75 Old South Road in Southport, the property located at 75 Old South Road in Southport. The application is to A, widen driveway, B, repave, the application is for A, demolish existing two-story structure, B, new two-story structure, and C, new pool, patio, and lighting.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanner White. I'm the architect of record representing Chris and Haley Milligan, who are here. Again, I appreciate everyone's time. I know we've been in front of you guys a couple of times at this point. But before I get into the application, I wanted to just have a quick introduction to my client, Haley and Chris Milligan, who are both here, just as a 2-minute intro to them, and then I'll pass it back on to me and we'll go through the application.
All right, Tanner, can you just hold on for 1 second? Hey, Rob. Those are some nice charts, but I think if you could stop sharing your screen.
Sorry, working on it.
Thank you.
Still working on it. I'll drop.
All right, Tanner, you can continue. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, again, let me see, maybe if I can overwrite it, just, oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. So again, just to recap, I was just gonna have my clients who are on this, I'm gonna put on this. There we go.
There you go.
So again, Tanner White, I'm the applicant here for 75 Old South to demolish the existing structure and rebuild a new two-story structure in kind. But I just wanted to have Chris and Haley Milligan, who are here on this call, just give a quick introduction to themselves, and I'll take it from there. Chris, are you here?
Yes, am I audible?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Adam and Commission. I wanted to take this moment. We've obviously been in front of you several times in the last year, and it makes sense, I think, at this point to introduce ourselves. I'm Chris Milligan. My wife, Haley, had to just jump. We're potty training our 2-year-old, and so we're drawing straws at the moment. We have 2 daughters. We have a third on the way in July. You know, we're obviously adore the district, chose to live here in no small part for the effort the district, or the committee, or the commission rather, does in preserving and protecting the district itself. We appreciate the effort the commission puts in. It's obviously a time-consuming public service, when we've witnessed now several times. And, saying that we recognize the significance of presenting an application for demolition. You may remember from previous applications, our original intention had always been to adapt to the existing structure to meet our growing family's needs. Obviously, later, as with permits in hand, we discovered that our otherwise innocuous renovation ran a real risk of becoming a quagmire. Not just costly and time-consuming for us, but potentially a nuisance for the district and Old South. Having committed to the home and to the district, it was clear, and having been clear at the time that definition was the least risky proposed course of action, we made a very clear and deliberate effort with our proposal. One, I'm not sure we made as clearly as we should have, but really out of deference to the district, the commission, and anybody with interest in the district, we are proposing a structure and have proposed a structure that is largely in kind. We avoided the temptation entirely of presenting a structure otherwise appropriate but new that would change the look and the feel of Old South. Even if it was within the spirit, or rather the letter of the handbook. We viewed this as a more conservative approach taken by prior demolition applications and more in keeping with the spirit of HDC's mission. Again, as my apologies if our previous applications may have taken for granted, our serious sort of recognition of the responsibility and associated burdens of being an inventory home with the district. I'm hopeful that the updated presentation that Tanner is about to deliver rectifies that. Again, much appreciate the time and consideration.
Thanks, Chris. So today I'm going to basically start off with the application for the architecture. We're going to kind of go through, previous approvals, the description of the home as it is right now. Again, the engineering challenge that we met when we tried to do the renovation to the existing structure. And then after we go through the architecturals, I'm going to pass it off to Joe Warner, who's here as well, to talk about the landscape design. So as Chris mentioned, the existing approval that we have with the HDC does include the expanded coverage, the 3-car garage to the existing structure with the 2nd story. And so we have gone through this process before, as you guys know. And the new proposal here is basically to demolish the house and replicate it in kind. The house originally was designed by Ben Baker. It was completed in 1990 on an undeveloped lot. The home is typical of that kind of period of construction, 2x4 walls in the Victorian age style. The home was cosmetically renovated from the inside and out, both on 2018 to 2019 by a prior owner as a spec flip. And then my clients purchased it, and then we went through, the changes that we've gone through and are here now. The prior approvals that we do have are for this 3-car garage over here. This is the prior site plan where we had basically kept the house, demolished the garage, built it, built a 3-car garage with an office above, pool, screened-in porch, all that in the background. This new proposal that we're going to be doing is actually going to be shrinking the coverage just by a little bit. So it's going to be less invasive or less, coverage-wise than the previously approved application. What happened with this was that the existing house here is all on crawl space, mixture of crawl space and slab on grade, due to the inconsistent soils that are there. When we demolished the garage to look at the soil conditions here, we brought out Norwalk Marine, a bunch of specialty contractors, Lametta Construction, had 3 to 4 people come and look at this and evaluate the situation, which would require essentially digging down 12 feet and shoring up the existing house with these, 12-foot sheet piles that would be driven directly into rock. The issue there that all of them basically provided to us was that although it is feasible to do this, the disturbance level is going to be extremely high. The costs are going to be through the roof in terms of $400,000, as well as probably the bigger issue, which is the time required to execute, to the tune of about 3 to 4 months of looking at this dewatering pit and trying to shore up the existing house, as well as the biggest concern, which was really that none of them could provide a guarantee that the house wouldn't undergo structural failures and crack and sort of give way, given the sort of sandy-like conditions that the soil of this house has. So due to that, as well as us also engaging SHPO to look and see if that we could get some relief there, due to that, we've kind of come to this application. So at our last meeting, we were recommended to go talk to SHPO and see if we can get some kind of offset material costs there. However, after speaking with them, we do not apply in any way, shape, or form. Basically, the request, SHPO our project does not satisfy the tests required for qualified rehabilitations to SHPO, which would be like site improvements, additions, renovations. They're explicitly disqualified. So none of the work that we were proposing in our previous application would have applied or been granted with any kind of SHPO relief. So although we do appreciate that recommendation, it was not applicable to our application. So due to all of that, stuff that I mentioned before, we've come back to the board and saying, here's our application, slightly modified to demolish and replace the existing structure. To replicate our what I said last time we met, the existing structure that we are going to be demolishing, we are basically going to be rebuilding in kind. So we're going to replicate the gables. We're replicating all of the details. I'll quickly go to the front elevation here. This front elevation is going to be almost indistinguishable from the house that's there currently. All of the cornicing, all of the shutters, the window patterns, the materials, the roof lines, the gutters, the lighting, everything is going to be basically rebuilt in kind to pay homage to and also give respect to the structure that's there, which my client very much likes. As I mentioned before, this house that we're proposing is actually going to be a little bit slightly less in coverage than the previous approval. And all the materials on this will be HVAC acceptable. In terms of the appropriateness of demolition, we went to the HCC guidebook and basically pulled out a couple of different paragraphs from it that specifically define the appropriateness of the demolition or significant enlargement or reduction in the size of the building or structural consideration appropriateness. And rather than going through the entire, definitions here, the ones that were probably the largest of importance was that the historical importance that would qualify under these guidelines would be an architectural importance as an architect or an important figure in the field nationally, in Connecticut, Fairfield, its environs, or any specific district. The question is the building or structure an example of a design or construction significant to the historic district? And representation of a particular architectural style in the historic district, for for example, is the building or structure unique or one or a few examples of its architectural style in the district. In evaluating these texts in context with 75 Old South, we believe that though well regarded and responsible for several homes in the area, this Ben Baker, the previous architect, there's no reference to the architect's actual stated importance to the state of Connecticut, Fairfield, its environs, or any district. Neither the state or local inventory make any reference to the architect in regard to this structure. So although it is in the historic area, and the fact that it was built in 1990, it's not a specific architect whose import is on this house. And while the existing and replacement structures pay homage to the Italian vernacular best illustrated by like 225 Old South, given the home's relative new construction, being 1990, it does not represent a unique or specific example of this style within the district. The next part, which I find even more important, is in Chapter 2, where it says, under 1.1, it says, demolished or otherwise recently removed structures, the new construction should roughly match, and then it says 1.1, 1.2, should match the previous structure in mass, scale, height, dimension, in order to maintain the historic visual qualities of the streetscape. So that's probably the most important point from your handbook, because as you can see, we are replicating that in every way, shape, and form, mass, scale, height, dimension, in order to do just that. Furthermore, the established rhythms in location, mass, and height, bulk of buildings and structure along the street should be maintained. And again, by us taking this building down and replicating it in kind, we are respecting those guidelines. So to get to the other part of the application here, the survey will show our proposed new construction, again, largely in line with what is there now, as well as what was previously approved, compared to what we're proposing, in both setbacks, size, shape, form. And we'll go through this presentation with the floor plans and elevations, and then I'll open it up for questions. So the first floor plan here, one of the comments from our last application was the lighting plan. So we've located all of the sconces on the building, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by the mudroom, and then also located, I'll zoom in, also located the recessed lights along the underside of the porch. This is exactly what's there currently. So the fixtures that we have spec'd for all of these sconces on the garage and the mudroom are actually the exact same picture that we're proposing, which is this Northeast Lantern Company in the dark antique copper, clear glass. So again, our proposal is to replicate exactly the light fixtures that are there currently, as well as the recessed lighting under the covered porch here. So we've got 4-inch recessed downlights. There's currently 4 here off the front, and then another 3 over here. Again, they're the same size, the same spacing. We're not proposing any new lighting to this plan. We're just trying to keep what's there. The second floor plan will show the location of the floodlights at the corners of the building here, and then the one here off the garage, and then the others off the back. Again, we're going to keep the locations which are there currently. We're just going to update the fixture because currently they're halogen bulbs. So we're going to update them to a smaller size, a more efficient lighting, to be a little bit more congruent with the existing or with the proposed structure. Going on further to the front, to the elevations, this here is the rear elevation. This is the side, the right side if you're standing there looking right at the face of the building. And then probably the most important elevation here, which is the front. So on this elevation sheet, it has all of these call outs, which specify the materials, which are going to be a red cedar roofing, 8-inch clapboard cedar siding for the mass of the house, wood Pella windows and doors, which again are what's there currently. Red copper gutters, half round, Victorian columns here, all painted out of wood. Wood garage doors, painted louvered shutters, which again are what's there currently. Natural 6-inch cedar decking for this covered porch here. painted corner boards, this painted wood crown rake detail here, which is the detail which is on the current house, and a painted wood entry here. We've also located, obviously, the sconce locations here, which reference back to the floor plan. Continuing on, this is the left side. This is the side of the garage, and everything from here over is behind the house, so not viewable from the street. And one other point that I wanted to just bring out is that the height of the building compared to the height of the building now is going to be the same. So we're not increasing the mass, up into the air. We're keeping the height of this ridge here to be consistent with the ground level. The next slide is a picture of the existing structure looking slightly to the right. So again, from here compared to this, very, very similar. The next image here is a picture head-on looking down the driveway. As you can see, the wood roof, the Victorian columns, covered porch, etc. And then this is the proposed design for the HCC application. So this is a picture of our model from our computer program, but obviously it will be, the materials will be consistent with what we're showing in our elevations as well as what's there currently. And this is the other view looking at it slightly to the right as well. We're keeping this arched window here, which is currently there. The remaining parts of this slide are specs for the building. So we've got the Pella Reserve traditional wood hung windows, some details here on the sections, the lantern spec, like I called that before, the recessed lighting spec for underneath the covered porch, the floodlights at the corner of the building, the generator spec, which we're proposing the same generator as last time, but I'll let Joe Warner talk about that in his landscape plan, as well as that kind of covers that application. So one other part at the beginning of our application, which I skipped over, was, we've got letters of support from all of our direct neighbors here. We've got, they're shown in this application, 1, 2, 3, basically everyone that's going to be most affected by the structure themselves. We've got I can't read it, 101 Old South, 66 Old South, and 104 Old South. So we've got full support from the neighbors who have reviewed this with my client. And one last parting thing is that at the end of our application last time, we spoke about how, I forget who had mentioned if a comment was made about the nature of demolishing a structure in a historic district, and that it's sort of an unheard of thing. So after further research, we identified these 5 structures here, which are part of our application. 883 Harper Road, 144 Harbor Road, 240, 448 Pequot, and 297 Harbor Road. All 5 of these structures were historic structures built from 1834 to 1980, and they were all approved on or around these dates, so 2008, 2002, 2000, 2000. So we found these previous applications that were approved by your commission to demolish a structure and build something that was actually wildly different than the structures that were there. So we feel that with our application here, with the previous structures previous applications that have been approved, the letter of support from our neighbors, the further diligence that we've kind of gone down to try to see if we could just renovate the structure, as well as the largest part of the application, which is that we're simply requesting to rebuild it in kind, a structure that was built in 1990 by an architect who is not on any sort of historic data. We're hoping that this application will be received well by the commission. And again, thank you guys for your time. At this point, I'm going to pass it on to Joe Werner, who's going to talk about the landscape architecture portion of our application. Joe, if you're here, I'll pass it on to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Tanner. Can everybody hear me?
Joe, do you want to share your screen?
I am working on it right now. Yes. Can everybody hear me and see my screen?
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Tanner. My name's Joe Warner. I'm the landscape architect with Cass and Herman Design, working with Chris and Haley Milligan on the landscape design for this property. With a few, subtle exceptions based on the realignment of architectural plans that Tanner just enumerated. This plan on the screen is largely consistent with the existing approvals. Our goal in working with the Milligans was to develop a landscape design which draws on the character of similar period homes in the area. I'll just zoom in on the front space here. In the front garden, our main objective was to maintain the existing character of the property by reinforcing the established planting beds with additional perennials and evergreen shrubs. Along the street, the existing stacked stone wall will be repaired and the uneven picket fence set atop it will be removed. This will allow for a more consistent approach to fencing on the entire property. The driveway has been very subtly shifted westward to allow for better pedestrian visibility around this corner. Along with the parking courtyard, which sits within its existing location, the surface material of the driveway will remain soil and stone with a native gravel top dressing bounded by unpainted steel edging on the sides. And the uneven existing stone paving in the front garden will be replaced with a more consistent natural stone. The generator location and its surrounding evergreen screening are consistent with the existing approval from the December 10th meeting of last year. That's the generator, the Generac generator that Tanner had up on the screen earlier. In the rear garden, a small in-ground swimming pool and internal spa are proposed with adjacent natural stone and gravel terraces, largely consistent with the existing approval from the June 11th meeting of last year. I've mentioned a couple times before, this fire feature will be a freestanding purchased element, so it's not a built-in feature. Though this space, the whole rear garden, is not visible from a public way, a combination of evergreen and flowering deciduous trees and shrubs will largely surround the space to provide screening from neighboring properties. I will continue on to the fencing details. Some of you may be familiar with this plan, but due to the fact that there is a swimming pool being constructed, we need to create a pool enclosure, which I am tracing with my cursor right now. It runs just off the western corner of the architecture here and then traces the property line all the way around the rear of the garden until it comes back and meets the other corner of the architecture here. All of the fencing has been designed with the fencing design guidelines detailed in Chapter 2 of the HDC handbook. The combination of fencing and gates consistent with the surrounding neighborhood remains unchanged from the June 11th meeting of last year. These cedar fencing and gates have been designed to meet pool code and utilize both square pickets with pyramidal tops paired with the pedestal style posts, as well as solid board tongue and groove construction. This fencing exists only around the generator inside of the evergreen screening that I mentioned earlier. And the landscape lighting plan, as shown on the screen, again remains consistent with the existing January 14th, 2021 approval. Our original landscape lighting plan carried 40 fixtures, and after the December 10th meeting last year, we removed all of the uplighting per the guidance of the HDC and ultimately gained approval for this in January with only the 32 fixtures shown. I will zoom in on these specs. All of these fixtures are diffuse with low wattage and will be cast in natural brass and allowed to patina naturally. Along with the 2 fixtures in the pool and the 1 fixture in the spa, these are all located at thresholds and grade changes around the property for safety and circulation. So at this time, I'll turn it back to Tanner, and I'm sure that there are questions about everything that we've said.
Thanks, Joe. So I think that kind of covers our application. If there's anything, we'd like to open it up, obviously, for questions right now. And anything that we didn't cover that we can cover prior to consideration, please let us know.
Thank you, Dan. Darren, you want to start us off?
I don't really have very many questions, so I'll pass it off to somebody else.
Okay, Chris?
Thanks for your application. I thought you did a very good job with the presentation.
Thank you.
One question I had, Tanner, I'm getting a bad echo, sorry. The fireplace or the chimney on the existing house, is that going to be rebuilt on the new house?
In the current application, we're not showing that chimney there. However, I know that if that was a bone of contention, my client would certainly be willing to add that in there.
No, I just didn't see it on the application, so I wondered if it was
this little, I'm not sharing my screen anymore, but now the little chimney here is not being replicated on the new structure.
Okay. And then my only other comment was the last presentation, I was objecting to the fact that the application wasn't clear to me that the intent was to demolish the existing residence. I think I had said that since I had been on the commission, there weren't any homes approved to be demolished. I didn't say that never happened, so I just want to make sure for the record that that's clear.
Understood. I was just trying to sort of speak to that, here we did some research. Here are the ones that we found that have, for those who haven't witnessed demolitions on your committee.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, Tanner, I think you might need to mute yourself when other people are speaking, because there's a lot of I think it's something to do with your audio. Anyway, Rosina, do you have any questions?
In Tanner's presentation, there was mention of floodlights. Were those existing and you're replacing, or where are those located?
The current house as it stands today has 2 floodlights off the front of the house. And the application that we're doing for the new house instead are going to have those 2 floodlights in the same spot, same spec, same location as what currently exists on the house today.
Okay. Thank you.
Alyssa.
No, that was thorough. Thank you very much.
Jim?
Very thorough presentation, Tanner. Thank you. One question though, I thought I heard you say that the new house will be the same lot coverage as the old. I wonder how that could be if it's a 3-car garage rather than a 2.
Apologies if I didn't say it correctly. What I meant was from the previously approved application, this application is actually smaller in coverage.
From the previous three-car application.
Correct. So the existing house, the existing house is a 2-car garage, we added that 12 by 24 foot, extra bay, which was like a 1% increase in coverage. This new application is less than the previously approved application.
Okay, but it's still compliant with lot coverage requirements of the planning zone. Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No other questions. Good presentation. Very thorough. Thank you.
And Darren, do you have any questions?
No, sorry about that. I'm losing my voice and my kids are screaming, so I couldn't yell over them. I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. And I noticed, George, when did you show up? George Clark is present.
I've just been quiet in the background. I think it's, by the way, I think it's an excellent presentation. I have one question on the fence, if I could ask, on the street. We're taking the white pickets away. Is that what I understand?
That's correct. They're sort of falling apart and they're a bit inconsistent. I'll share a photo right now. If you can see my screen, they have this sort of strange step throughout, and they are rotted out at the bottom in certain locations, and they're sort of falling apart and stacked upon it. The adjacent properties have different styles of fencing, and we're proposing that square picket fencing with the pyramidal tops. So we felt that it would be inappropriate to have multiple different styles of fencing on the same property. And this wall is so beautiful that it felt like it would be a much more attractive frontage to the street if this was simply taken off.
Okay, I have no other questions.
Okay, thank you. Tanner, I don't have any questions either. I think, I mean, I guess the only comment I would say is I think it's probably appropriate to take down the house and rebuild it, given the circumstances and the lack of historic significance of the house. So I don't have an issue with what you're proposing.
Thank you.
And I guess I didn't receive any letters in favor or against, but you have provided 3 letters. I think there are 3 letters. Yeah, 3 letters of
yes, that's correct.
For your application, which I'm not going to read because they're part of your application. So I didn't receive any letters in opposition. So the hearing's closed. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to considerations. Can we go, hey, George, can you tell me when you arrived? I know I saw you were there for the last application.
Who was before Johnson?
Just so I know what.
Just before Johnson. The one before Johnson's.
Who, you were there for that one?
Yeah, the Johnsons and the Fishers, both of those.
That's the 221 Willow Street. You were there for that?
That one. And the one before it. I just was when I joined.
The 920 Harbor Road?
Right.
Okay. So for Sheila, item 6 is where George will start to begin the rotation. So let me see here.
It was the middle of that presentation. Excuse me.
Okay. The middle of 6?
Yeah, the one on Harbor Road. Yes.
So did you hear enough to let me see? I'm not even sure if you're going to be in that rotation.
I would probably stay out of that one because I didn't hear the whole beginning.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
So okay, so you're going to start on number 7, George.
That's fine, sir.
I guess that's the only one you'll be on.
Sorry, I was late.
So no problem. The alternate order is Bohan's stack. So the first application is Bohan, second stack, third Bohan, fourth stack, fifth Bohan, sixth stack, seventh is Clark.
Fine.
Okay, so the first one is Pequot Library, 720 Pequot Avenue in Southport for property located at 720 Pequot Avenue. Application is for remove existing screens on upper stained glass dormer windows. So can I get a motion?
Yeah, it's Chris Shea, and I'll make a motion to approve the application as presented.
I second the
that.
motion.
You second?
I'll second.
Okay. Darren is seconding. Any discussion? No discussion, okay, so we'll take a vote. All in favor? And opposed? None opposed, so the abstentions, no abstentions, the motion passes unanimously. Second item, Ancadis, Main Trust. Sorry, it's Ancadis Main Trust, 996 Old Post Road in Fairfield, for property located at 996 Old Post Road in Fairfield, to replace the existing damaged garage with new garage. Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Rosina approves as presented. Darren seconds. Discussion? No discussion, and well, let's say you're voting on this. All in favor? All opposed? None opposed. Abstentions? No abstentions. Motion passes unanimously. Item 3, Lisa Beth Zelson, 297 Harbor Road in Southport, for property located at 297 Harbor Road in Southport, to A, replace French doors with new folding doors, and B, new retractable shade awnings. Made a motion.
I move to approve as Jack presented.
Jim approves as presented. We have a second.
I'll second the motion. Chris
seconds. Discussion? No discussion? We'll take a vote. And Jen, you're obviously you're first, so you're voting on this. All in favor?
Yep.
All opposed? None opposed. Abstentions? No abstentions. Motion passes unanimously. Item 4, Daniel Hughes Callahan and Lisa Winton Callahan, 290 Beach Road in Fairfield, for property located at 290 Beach Road in Fairfield, to install glass railing to existing roof deck. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve as accepted.
Is that Alyssa?
Alyssa, sorry.
Alyssa,
Yeah.
motions to approve. Second?
I'll second.
Rosina seconds. Discussion? No discussion. Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor? All opposed? None opposed? Abstentions? No abstentions? The motion passes unanimously. Item 5 on the agenda. David J. and Elizabeth Ives, 411 Harbor Road in Southport, for property located at 411 Harbor Road in Southport, to A, widen driveway, B, repave driveway with asphalt, C, new stone apron at Harbor Road, D, widen sidewalk and reposition lights, and E, remove curb at garage. And can I get a motion? Let's see who's voting on this one. Jim
I'll move
Bohan
to
is
approve.
voting on.
I'll move to
Jim,
approve as
motions to
presented.
approve. Okay, we have a second?
I'll second.
Darren? Discussion? No discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. All in favor? All opposed, unopposed, abstentions, no abstentions, the motion passes unanimously. And item 6, 910 Harbor Road LLC for 920 Harbor Road, Southport, for property located at 920 Harbor Road in Southport for a new outdoor fireplace with evergreen plantings. This is Alyssa's voting on this one.
I'll make a motion to approve. Yes, Chris, I'll make a motion to approve items A and B as presented.
There's only
Can you
item A,
clarify
right?
which ones are A and B?
The application states, the application I have states 1, construct an outdoor fireplace, and 2, add evergreen screenings. So since we normally go with letters, I just changed it to A and B.
I have
But
on
just
the
to clarify,
notice
that's the
just
entire
a
application.
It's just a new outdoor fireplace with evergreen planting screening.
Okay, I'll withdraw my
that's the
motion.
item.
Someone else can make one.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented, new outdoor fireplace with evergreen screening.
Okay. And a second?
I can second that.
Melissa seconds. Discussion? No discussion, then we'll take a vote. All in favor? All opposed? None opposed. Any abstentions? No abstentions. Motion passes unanimously. 7, James A. Fisher and Pamela S. Vigliamo, 221 Willow Street, Southport, for property located at 221 Willow Street in Southport for a new generator.
I'll make the motion to approve as presented with the stipulation of the evergreen plantings to be maintained in perpetuity.
I'll second that.
Darren seconds. Discussion? No discussion. Take a vote. All in favor? And that's unanimous. And any none opposed and no abstentions. Motion passes unanimously. Item 8, Robert and Amelia Johnson, 187 Westway Road in Southport, for property located at 187 Westway Road in Southport to A, replace existing synthetic roof with red cedar, and B, change previously approved fence design and add additional gate.
I'll approve. I'll make the motion to approve as presented with, I don't know if it's with the stipulation that it's not red cedar that was presented, but yellow Alaskan cedar. Does
Okay.
that make any sense?
Yeah, that's what they proposed, so.
Okay.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
Darren seconds. Discussion?
Adam, can you just clarify who's
no
voting on this
discussion.
one?
Yes, I can. This is Bohan. Jim?
Yes.
All in favor? All opposed? None opposed? No abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. And item 9 is Haley and Christopher Milligan, 75 Old South Road in Southport, for property located at 75 Old South Road in Southport for A, demolish existing 2-story structure, B, new 2-story structure, and C, new pool, patio, and lighting. Can we get a motion? And so let's see, you're voting on that one. I think, hang on. Yes, you are.
Okay, then I'll make the motion to approve as submitted.
Thank you. We have a second?
I'll second it.
Is that Rosina?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Discussion? Okay, so we take a vote. All in favor? All opposed? None opposed. All abstentions? No abstentions. So the motion passes unanimously. Okay. Moving on, approval of minutes from the 4/8/21 meeting. Can we do it? Yes, we have Cliver, Bohan, Stack. Gravanis is not with us, so can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion to approve.
And a second? Alyssa seconds. All in favor?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? Jim?
Yep.
Okay, opposed? None opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, channel report. We have two repairs at 647 Harbor Road to replace an awning in kind. We have 260 Harbor Road, replace bluestone sidewalk in kind. 71 Spruce Street, replace existing cedar stockade fence in kind. And 720 Old Post Road to replace existing asphalt driveway in kind. The violations, 317 Vernon Hill Road for installing synthetic columns, which I spoke to the homeowner, and they will be submitting an application for that violation. Old business discussion on the handbook. We don't have to talk about that tonight. But hopefully, I don't know if anything's hadn't done, Darren, if you had any progress on that front.
I sent it to you 2 months ago. Did you not get it?
Okay. No.
Okay, I'll resend it. I sent it before was it the April or March meeting? I think it was it was definitely by the April meeting. So I'll resend it now to you, but I sent it. Yeah.
Okay. No rush.
Have you received the comments that I sent you?
Yeah, I incorporated, sorry guys, I'm suffering really badly from allergies today. I've incorporated everybody's, I've got Jim's, I've got Rosina's, I think you sent me Chris's as well, Rosina. I incorporated all of that and I put in a few comments of myself where I saw some inconsistencies that sort of need to be addressed. I've also put in some comments where there's things to consider from the Connecticut general statutes and possibly other things to consider that other HDCs are doing that might help the process of application for residents within historic districts.
Thank you. Excellent. Any new business? I know I received an email from a resident about violations in the Old Post Road, and I'll talk to you, Rosina, about it because I think I could use a little help trying to round these things up and issue these violations. I just don't have the time to do it all, so hopefully you can help me out, but I'll reach out to you later about it. Just some ongoing violations that someone brought up that should be addressed. The Old South violation has been submitted on the town records. Hopefully we'll be hearing something about that, and that will hopefully be resolved. Other than that, anyone else have any new business they'd like to bring up?
I just resent you the handbook changes, so if you could just confirm that you get it.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't. I'll let you know.
Adam,
Yeah.
I received were you talking about as far as violations, the 104 Old South Road?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. They reached out to me yesterday and said they had missed the deadline for this month's application, but they were going to be submitting an application for next month.
Okay.
For the June hearing. Just a heads up on
Good.
that.
Yeah, hopefully we can resolve that whole issue. And it's going to be white great. Anything else? All right. Well, thank you all for.
Yeah, I have a question. Is there a plan to get back to in-person meetings in the near future? Have you heard anything?
I have, yes. I received an email from someone from the town. I know like the building department and planning and zoning, you're allowed to go into the building now, apparently.
Yep. That's right.
So I think they're starting to open things up. So I think in the next, I don't think it'll be June, but maybe July, we might have an in-person meeting, which would be nice.
Yeah, it would. Okay, thank you.
I'll keep you posted though when I hear more. Okay, can we get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Rosina makes a motion, Jim makes a second. All in favor?
Yep.
Motion passed unanimously. All right, thank you everyone for